Greetings everyone, it's IT2. Today I'm going to do a book review. I know it's been a while since I've done one because I've been reading both of the books of Nicholas Eames' The Band, Kings of the Wild, Bloody Rose, and actually I didn't actually finish Bloody Rose. I got a little bit left of it. I forgot I was on the epilogue. I forgot to finish it. So these books are fantastic. I'd have to say it actually made it into my favorites. So, what is Kings of the Wild? Let's just start with... A lot of people say this is supposed to be like an homage to rock bands in like the 80s or 90s or whatever. And it's like... how do you even explain it? Do I have a picture of the map? I'm going to show you the map. Because this is one of my main things. It's like... This may have the best map of any fantasy book. Sorry, I'm sick right now. You got this whole wild area here. This is where all the monsters are. This is all the civilized lands over here. And over here you got the city where this guy's trying to like make a sanctuary city for the monsters. You have to cross these mountains right here once you get through the Heart Wild. Oh man. So this world, there's like all kinds of monsters in it. Anything you can imagine, any like vampires, werewolves, orcs, goblins, ogres, giants, harpies, dragons. I think on a dragon eater that eats dragons. It's like a mythical. Nobody even knew it was real. I mean, there's like all kinds of crazy shit. And there's a disease going around called the rot. In the Heartwild, the forest, you can get this disease that will eventually kill you, and there's no cure for it until the end of this book when he finds a cure. So you want to like look at the pictures on the front while you're reading it because the names of the characters. It's like a road trip movie. That's one of the things a lot of people say. It's like getting the band back together. It's about mercenary bands in the future. No, wait, not in the future. What am I talking about? In this world, in the past, the monsters were like taken over, and people had to fight back, and they started having these mercenary bands who get together and they would kill the monsters, pretty much like in a D&D campaign. So you have magic in it, so there's like wizards, all kinds of crazy shit, just whatever you can imagine, pretty much. You got legendary weapons. So there used to be this legendary band called Saga, and Clay Cooper, the main guy, well, not really, Golden Gabe, this guy, was kind of like the main guy. But Clay Cooper was kind of like the leader. He was the front man. So there's also these creatures in the world. This is very important. They're called druids. They are like very good looking rabbit people. They're from another world. They use this sword here called Velicor. It's supposed to look like the blade looks like space, like it's another world or something, and it smells like leaves and flowers because it's like a kind of like an elven kind of magical blade. And it apparently carved a portal for these druid people to come through to our world because theirs was, they had to flee or something, right? Oh shit. So anyway, that's the guy that's trying to make this sanctuary for the monsters because there's the story. One of my main complaints with the books are it doesn't take itself too seriously. It's kind of like a comedy story. There's all kinds of references to like other books, movies, bands, all kinds of like references hidden throughout it. So it's kind of like a Terry Pratchett-y, Douglas Adams kind of a feeling, but the plot is too good for that. If it wasn't such a like joke of a book, I feel like this could be like up there with the greats because the plot is so good about these people coming from another planet. And the other part that I don't really like is that they kind of show how the monsters have been mistreated, and like now instead of the mercenary bands going out and fighting the monsters and getting all this glory, they have these people that are kind of like wranglers, and they'll go out and they'll like subdue monsters, and then they'll mistreat them, and you'll see like their mothers and children that have like they're breeding them and stuff, and they're like mistreating the babies and stuff, and they're like keeping them just to have them in these arenas so the mercs can go, merc bands can go and like fight in an arena, put on a show and entertain people. And it doesn't really resolve that until like the very, very end of the second book. Because, I mean, I don't know if they're going to still do it. I don't know if there's like a third book coming. But like, they didn't really seem to learn their lesson. Because it wasn't really like taking itself too seriously. Everybody just kind of loves to drink, to have sex, and go kill monsters, and have a good time. But it makes you like, the morality issue didn't really get resolved, I don't feel like, as much as it could have been. But anyway, the characters are fucking fantastic too. You got a great, some people like books because the setting is great, some people like books because the characters are great. This has got both awesome characters and an awesome setting and an awesome plot. But the plot was kind of like too good for the book. That's basically what I want to say about it. Anyway, you got Clay Cooper. He's got this big shield made from the heart of a tree ant. And he also has a daughter and a wife at home. And he feels like sometimes he's a monster. And he kind of shows it at one point where this guy, who's like their old agent, I guess you would say, he like gets them gigs. He's like talking about his wife. And he's like, just throws him off of an airship and kills him. He's like, I'm not going to let you talk about my wife. Just beat his ass. Killed him. Then you got Matrix Skulldugger, I think is his name. This guy is hilarious because when they used to be a famous band, they broke up. He ended up becoming the king of the whole land, kind of. But his wife is constantly cheating on him and having a bunch of kids that's not his. And now he's afraid she's going to have him assassinated because she's pregnant with another one with this other guy's kid or something like that. So he has to get the band to like save him and like sneak him out and like stage his death so he can like get out of this castle. But then shortly after they find out he's still alive, they keep sending assassins after him. Hilarious. They're constantly getting robbed by these archers called the Silk Scar. What was it? Silk Bandits, something like that. They keep stealing all their stuff. And then you got Golden Gabe. He's the guy with the Velicor, the magic sword. And the main thing about him is his daughter is trapped in this city, Castia, where it's under siege by like a whole horde of monsters. So they have to go save her. That's her right there, Bloody Rose. That's this guy's daughter. So the first book, they're going to save her and her band that's trapped in this castle. They have to go through the Heartwild, and they got to cross the mountains. And then some people die along the way. There's a few people that die in these books too, so they're not afraid to like kill characters off. Ganelon, he's like the big barb. His deal was he was frozen in stone by what do you call the women with the snake on their head? One of those. And so he's like still the same age as when the band broke up. Everybody else is like old and they're like too old for this shit, and their arms and legs don't work good, and they've kind of lost a step. And then you got Arcanius Moog. He's the wizard, and he's gay, and his partner died from the rot. And he also wants to prove owlbears exist because nobody believes him. And he also has a bag of holding that's pretty much he pulls all kinds of crazy shit out of this bag, and he puts stuff into it, and he ends up solving the rot problem. So I'm not going to tell you too much more about it, but that's the characters in the first book, and it's great. Now the second book, Bloody Rose. Bloody Rose is not the main character in this one. It's this one right here. She is the bard of the band. So she kind of like, it's a pretty interesting story. She has to like leave her dad and never come back because he doesn't want to like worry if she's ever going to come back or not. So she has to make a decision just to leave home forever. She's a lesbian, and she ends up in a relationship with this woman who is like Cura. And she has all these tattoos that she can bring to life temporarily, and like they're big monsters. Everything she's afraid of, she has tattooed on her body, and she can bring them to life and like fight with them. And then this guy, he's one of those druids I was talking about, the rabbit people. And what the rabbit people do, I didn't tell you about this, they're pretty much immortal. You can kill them, fine, but they live to be like thousands of years old. Eventually they'll get too old and die, but they're like elves. They're pretty much live forever, and they also can see slightly into the future, so they know what you're going to do. So if you're going to attack them, they can just dodge you like the Matrix, and it's really awesome. So there's a lot of cool prescience, is what's called, future guessing, dodging stuff. Now this guy back here, he's like a druid, kind of. He can transform into a bear, but then he has this whole thing with his clan, his dad, that he's let them become animals too long, and they've stayed in their animal form, and they've forgotten how to like transform back. They're kind of like wild and crazy, so he has to like take on his old man and like kill his dad, because he finds out his dad actually killed his mother and has her skeleton hanging from the ceiling, that she was a wolf. And he finds out his true form is the wolf, so then he starts turning into a wolf. Other than that, he doesn't really do that much, but he's a pretty cool character. Now Bloody Rose, she's in a relationship with the rabbit guy. And she's always like making out with him and having sex with him, which is pretty kind of weird to me. I feel like this book, Nicholas Eames, he got a little bit too horny when he was writing it, and there's too much like unnecessary sex for some reason, and it just it's still good, but it's like a little bit below the first book because of that. But this book has way more better fight scenes. Like, her deal is she has these 2 scimitars and she has these 2 gauntlets, and they're connected with runes, so she can throw the scimitars and like pull them back to her. So she ends up killing things like the Simurgh, the giant dragon eater, that's supposed to be like so deadly that nobody even thinks it's real. This is when the plot gets really good, because they get hired to kill it, and the whole time the Horde from the first book is a different kind of horde. They're attacking the east side now. So all the mercenary bands are going to fight this horde. And I'm like, why are you going north? What are you doing? Like, we got this horde here. And he's like, I got this contract. I got to take it to fight the Simurgh. And then everybody's like, what are you talking about? There's no Simurgh. You just don't want to fight or something like that, right? So she gets up there and she kills the Simurgh. Turns out the woman that gave her the contract is one of these other druids. The guy from the first book's mother, and she, like the sword Velikor, he made another sword, Tamarat or something like that. And every time he killed a druid, he could bring his mother or his wife back to life. Yeah, this guy's mother, the other guy's wife. And every time she would come back to life, she would kill herself. So she has all these scars on her arm where she would like cut her wrists. And then he would bring her back to life. And eventually she got tired of it. She started learning necromancy. So she's like one of the most powerful necromancers now. So when they kill the dragon eater, she brings it back to life. And then when the mercenary bands kill the horde, she brings it back to life. So then you got the dragon eater with the undead horde and the soldiers that died during the battle. They're all like, she's under her control now. And you have this giant epic battle at the end, and it's amazing. Also, there's like some cool bard shit with the main character. She's writing songs about people. She's like, gets good with like a bow and arrow, and she's like, she does some pretty cool shit. I can't remember, but there's a lot of stuff. There was a manticore fight at one point. I don't know. I don't want to tell you the whole story, but I highly, highly recommend these 2 books. Yeah, the boys are back in town. Girls just want to have fun. Time to walk on the wild side. Time to get the band back together. Glory never gets old. Live fast, die young. A lot of cool taglines on these books too. Man, some of the little references were pretty cool. I can't remember any of them though.